Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of McDonald County 411. I have a very special guest with me today, Mr. Rusty Wilson, Mayor of Anderson, Missouri. Thank you for being here, Rusty. I was telling the folks yesterday on Chamber Chat that me and John reported about the leadership class and how we got to speak with you as well as Mr. Scott Dennis, Mayor of Pineville, and how fascinating that conversation was. I always love to pick brains. You first ran for mayor in April of 2020, which was really like the peak, right when COVID was kind of everything was shutting down. So I thought that in itself was fascinating, as well as seeing your first race ever. So can you tell me a little bit about that? And did COVID have any influence over you deciding to run?
I put that out there at the beginning of like the talk and anything out of respect.
Yeah.
You can invite me or whatever, or either on phone, whatever. And so the campaign was different. And so what I did, we had questions. Some people had questions and they answered, but I pretty much put the questions and answers on social media. That way they can see it, that way they can understand it. If they have any questions, they can only mention them or whatever. But I respected everybody right to protect themselves and still do, But it was a challenge of our ran for the city council, I think 12 years ago, and so been council. But the pandemic, yeah, it did affect a lot. But for me, I just had the coordinating on how to do it.
It sounds like it kind of worked out for your favor in as far as the style that you had to, your campaign style was forced to change because you can't be out all the public events and gatherings that one wants. So you're having to stay true, reach out one on one to people in their homes, or just be very transparent on social media because that's the only way to connect. And so that to me makes a lot of sense of why you're so social media savvy now. We're kind of one of those forefront local politicians that are forced to solely rely on social media for your very first campaign because of COVID.
Say, honestly, I don't look at myself as a politician. I look at myself as a businessman. But I played that part, out of respect.
Politics, or excuse me, businessman.
Yeah. But either way,
Yeah, yeah, I know it's hard to sometimes very interesting. That's a great answer. So, well, before becoming mayor in Anderson, you worked in the industrial field as a very experienced machine operator. Some worry that the skilled trades are dying today, so to speak. Did you share that concern at all? And if so, what can we do about it to get the youth into the skilled trade?
Sure. Then in fact, point of it and everything, writing machines, won't follow that where so it was a time that I would actually train individuals and employees how to do it. And my whole thing was train them to where they knew what they're doing. Not just the fast forwards, respect what it the train the way to me a training would take probably a month, at least a month. Feel comfortable with the dealing safety the life the other day. The trade, yes, there's much for the trade. A lot of times in manufacturing, you get a lot of newer employees. I mean, when it starting out. Right. So it's very, I think, was called bringing, but it's the fact of there needs to be training, there needs to be encouragement if they want to go into manufacturing, be able to go and be able to learn and be confident. And think of the job as their career instead of it's temporary work. Some people have it as a big temporary work. They have the whole big job that they have a mindset. This is my job. I want to do it right and get out there.
Do you worry at all with just the constant evolvement and advancement of technology that skilled trades are one of the industries or first industries that will be replaced by, for lack of better words, robots, so to speak? I mean, do you think that is a real possibility? If we don't have more people start stepping up, could you see that?
Um, It's not really a glory. There is stories concern. Don't get me wrong. In manufacturing or any other area, uh,
It's
we
Anderson's
can.
a big
It
industrial.
is. It is. And technology is the main thing. It's been the main thing in probably at least 20 years.
Mhm.
With all the higher tech um, technology now, my recommendation now, we deal with AI and stuff, which I work with it. For me, my recommendation for anyone that's in the field or any other field,
Mhm.
be aware of how it works. Because if you're aware of how it works, you're likely not to be replaced with it. Um, and so there is concern that because they look at people, employees, don't learn anything out. That is, but I encourage people, you don't have to get involved 100%, in the water, but kind of have a knowledge of the technology. That way, when the time comes, you say, yes, I'm willing to learn more. I've learned some, I'm willing to learn more. And that gives them an opportunity to say, okay, we will keep you. So,
I agree with you. I agree with you. I think that there's always going to be a need for individuals to operate or be around managed computers, so to speak. And it will be those individuals that adapt and evolve, even in the skilled trade industry, that accept AI, and that will be the ones that will be left standing.
finally,
Yeah,
the world replacement and it's and the reason they were doing it now, my whole body is you're going to have an individual. If something goes down, so technology that goes down cannot help. So you got to have an individual there to be able to work on it. And, it's terrible that people do that because if it goes down, you may be down for a couple of weeks. So you still have to have that even be in charge of it, making sure everything's going correctly.
I absolutely, yes, yes, I agree. So all right. Well, we're going to move on a little bit to social media because you have what I would consider a very strong local social media platform. And I read recently that you were venturing into a new experience for yourself with Facebook subscribing, which is a big movement right now with Facebook and YouTube. There's a couple other platforms out there, but Patreon maybe. But can you tell us a little bit about that new adventure and like what kind of content you plan to promote on that platform?
Sure. My main is, of course, scriptures and encouraging others that inventory, we already encourage them. So my main are, uh, one is encouraging on people, keep moving on, keep trusting God. And so the subscription is basically, you show them a very low price on the scripture. That way, that I don't believe you need to put it out there. We're going to for it. You know what I'm saying? 9 cents, no, to me, no problem. And so, it's one of them for scriptures. Encourage people to keep moving forward with God, trusting Him. I just posted on there yesterday or something like that about let's let's talk scripture basically. If you have a scripture that you're having trouble with, let's talk about it. Let's get a better understanding of the scripture so that it encourages them that can continue increasing their faith.
Yeah, I love that. Yes, I love that. Yeah, there's a lot of positivity on your feed too. So I feel like anybody who is promoting sexually scripture, but just in general positivity,
Oh, absolutely.
pushing good.
Mhm.
Connection is really positive because we have so much of the ops that it's really nice to hear trusting voices saying positive things.
And you have to put it up. And if I do, you put information out there that can that's what my focus is they see there, they see if I take a beef time, well, they're going to say, oh, you're going to be kind. You know what I'm saying?
You walk the walk.
The walk the walk. Yes, do my best.
Yeah, I would say just from a marketing standpoint, you were very on brand for a genuine individual who walks the walk. That's beautiful, Robin. And I would say that is exactly what you represent is exactly who you are. So kudos to you. Well, earlier this month, a little Terry Breather Sunday with the city. Earlier this month, it was announced that Anderson is now officially recognized by the Missouri Department of Public Safety as a blue show community this year. So, to be honest, I had not heard of that, but then I read up on it and found out what it was, and I thought that was really cool. So, can you tell the people first what it means to be a blue show community?
Sure.
And about you guys.
Sure. I can't say I've done the Peter Pan. I let the chief and all of them take care of that. The book shield is a funding opportunity to work that you apply for. And the city gets sees it, and they have an opportunity to apply for fundings. I heard that one is like $50,000, which you applied for. And for law enforcement, $50,000 can go really well. Yeah.
And they said you have to achieve and need to be a blue shield community or city is in itself a good thing.
Yes.
And there's certain things, and so that means they deemed you a very good department. I think you know what I mean. So it goes to the department.
Sure.
Getting that opportunity to open the doors to more funding because they were doing their job, essentially, is how we look at it. So that's awesome. And let's, while we're actually on the subject of law enforcement, I know you actually have a very long history in law enforcement. Where does that fit in the timeline of being a mayor, being in the industrial field? Where in that timeline? And can you tell me a little bit about your experience?
Sure. Well, in 1996, I graduated from Academy, and so I started Goodman as a reserve officer. People I am there, and of course, business, when ended up went out of business, so it kind of made the revenue go down some. So I ended up going manufacturing, and so I was still reserve. Law enforcement, you can kind of do both, and then manufacturing for that year, even through that time, I got on Anderson PD reserve. So from 1999, January 1999, I was reserve all the way through to, we retired in 2010 and still manufacturing. So it's like, good job, Bill. So it all tied in that way, about, knowing what you can do, what you can't do in different areas. Law enforcement, when you in law enforcement, you learn different things, you have some companies in minutes and saying, do that, it kind of helps there. So where I'm at now, through the council and through as mayor, it gives me
Knowledge.
knowledge, yeah. So like, I don't think we let me go check or even check their turning and thing. So my whole thing is you work is working for us, I come to you, can we do this? I want you to be honest with me. If you say no, we can't. Well, as long as you say then I go with that. Because we don't know everything. That's why we have people that employees that do. So say, can we do this? No, okay, we want to do that. And so you have that integrity. You don't, bother with the government, they live in government pipes. That's our intention to not. There are times that we don't release anything until the right time. That's not the time. And you got to bring it out to the right time, and that way people know they can trust you.
Right. Absolutely. So, okay. Well, moving on to Kingdom News now. But to me, you were speaking a little bit about off camera, and I'm really excited. And this is also something I did not know about you until I did my research. But tell the folks what Kingdom News now is and how you got involved with that program, and just shout out all your platforms too, so they can check you out.
Jack links the deal today. We've known them for only between 5 years, and they knew from Poppy, but to the management, and during that time, basically was going through some stuff. So Jack coming to me and said that would you pray enough. Um, help them with this. I said, I don't have to pray much, but I have to very enough be semi-retired. That's good over into saying he will be helping on third, instead. So when continent I woke up right back. Yeah, I knew. And so that's in 2022. And so I started up in with that weekly. And so we was on Down Network, which an amazing now we're on the mini TV, which even greater outreach and everything. And it's amazing to be able to reach nations and way more than what I ever thought I would be in industry. I've been in industry over 25. And so it's a major outreach.
That's awesome.
It's all, yes.
Yeah, that's major blessing to you too. And sounds like you're already waiting for a sign or the God of the seeds out there. So I know what that's like.
Yeah.
So to give you just like extreme joy. I will say when you finally step into your calling, which I feel like I'm finally kind of doing in my life as well. You do it was work. It is joy. When it is work, it's hard work. But we do it because we secretly crave and love it.
Absolutely.
So I totally get it.
And the mini TV on third, so many more time. We
Okay.
have YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, all the podcasts basically, iTunes, all the way up iHeart. It's audio, and it's amazing to be able to get out into the world and all available for us.
Okay. Awesome, guys. And that's Kingdom News Now. Okay. So you heard Facebook, Spotify, YouTube. Check them out on all the social medias and see what they have to say. So, okay. Now on to a little personal. Recently, you participated in a health and fitness competition that supports the fight against childhood cancer through a foundation called the Positive Foundation. I believe you placed 6th place, so
Thank you.
congratulations. Uh, and you tell me a little bit about that experience and how you got involved with that Be Positive Foundation or organization that supports them.
Sure. So I've seen I think on Instagram at the end of against whatever what everyone you call it. And you were living, yeah. And I just started.
Immensely popular right now.
Yeah.
I will say, the reason I want to gear towards this question is because I have brothers, I have a teenage stepson, and so I know working out is like a way of life for a lot of people. And it has been for a while, but especially in the last 5 or 10 years, there's been an immense interest, even in the youth, in weightlifting
Yes.
and working out. But anyway, so continue. Sorry, I'm not.
No, you're
sure
fine.
that. I just wanted to acknowledge it is a really popular field.
So I seen that and I thought, why not? Just why not? So I submitted for it. I think, progress thought it was almost every week. They're supposed to show one man. And I got accepted. I'm like, me? I mean, I've only been in this almost 3 years, I got accepted. But okay. So basically, they had a competition, like week by week by week, and you just get those. And you can also pay for so many of those. It goes to that foundation. You bet. Yes. And so some did, and I even did, donate money to help. Of course, it also helped the challenge too. But it was amazing that be able to go and people support you, but also support the foundation and everything like that. And so, I've learned that help is very important, especially in leadership. Even helping everybody in the my position there. But and even getting a little muscle on you, that's good. That gets your body going, and so health has been one of my number one goals.
Passions.
And it is bad. They sometimes they say it's a fitness journey, but it goes from fitness journey to fitness life. So basically, that is your life. And so I use the comment, one reason I have servers, from maybe Rambo, where he says, this is who we are. This is what we do. And It's kind of emotional. Because
It's hard to call them.
yes, because ministry
It's your way to
is what we do. It's who we are. It is what we who we are. It's what we do. So it encourages others. If they can do it, I can do it. And unfortunately, there's so many people that don't take the health seriously, and it's heartbreaking. It's like, come on, but you got to be merciful. All you can do is say, I encourage you to take care of your body. And, I can't tell you what to do. Because a lot of times, how it is, people get offended because they're thinking you're trying to tell them how to do it. No, I'm just here to encourage you. If you decide to do it, I will back you. So,
And I will say, I've always been a big mental health advocate for, especially for youth and children, just as far as like being aware, being in touch with your child's mental health, really. Um, but I will say that exercise and routine physical activity, and I'm not even talking about for a child, which for myself, I know if I am exercising regularly, I'm a walker, which no pun intended, if you know my maiden name.
right.
But that is my exercise of choice, which one might say, okay, walking, but the way I walk very fast, very brisk
Sure.
for long periods of time. When I'm walking, I'm not full disclosure in a walking period right now,
Right.
but I have for years over my life. I'll go a couple years, I'll be really good at it. I know what I'm getting at is that when I am walking, my mental health is always better.
Sure.
Anytime I'm doing any kind of physical activity, I know that my kids, like during the summer when they're not doing as much, they get that sludge. Like they're even, they're athletes, so they're practicing all the time doing things. And so I do believe there's a direct correlation there. And so, it's true when you are, trying to guide someone to living the best, healthiest life, mentally and physically. Exercise is great for the body and mind all the way around.
Even many years ago, they would check us for my health and that thing, and they'd say, you exercise 15 years later, if I'm, what I'm saying. So I would, you can't go back and change it, but I wish I would have implemented this many years ago. But now here I'm at. Yeah.
But it's never too late.
That's
And
right.
I took that starting the podcast at 4 years old, but it's almost sometimes more inspiring.
Yes.
Sometimes when people who went through things or lived other lives and then decide to do something totally new that you can tell they're doing just out of pure passion, or you almost respect it more,
Right.
because it was almost that person or that person.
I started.
You see yourself when you're young and have
Yes.
get the out.
Get out. I started training at the gym when I was 47, 48. I'm 50, I'm 51. So it's not too late.
It's never too late.
Prime example, it's not too late.
Yes, I agree. So, great. Okay. And well, I have one more question. Wrapping up your current position as mayor, Anderson. So, as mayor, what would you say are some of your top initiatives or priorities for your city at the current time?
Sure. Of course, infrastructure is one of the major we're looking at. I think upgrading in infrastructure, we got we're going to do, probably what we're working on that to get the number one and start, because unfortunately today the common, we know that. So
Infrastructure is expensive.
it is.
I am learning. That's one of the things we were learning about with the commissioners too, as well as you guys, is first of all, what that meant.
Right.
I was kind of ignorant to what that actually meant. Part of the word, but
Sure.
in context of like city planning and such, what that means.
Absolutely.
But that's basically like an initial stage of anything, any development that has to happen before anything else can happen, and which is the water, the sewer, and those are very expensive.
Then start a but when you come to find out, I had only a kind of understanding. Now I've got a deep burn for the okay, I see what you're saying. Because if you get new development, you gotta have a system. I mean, like lift station got to run properly, booster station properly. You got to do one break. That's supposed to be growth. But we also have to work on our infrastructure. That's the city. So get an idea of cost, and unfortunately, the cost is increased so much that we just have to step by step on getting, I think, upgraded and new pumps or stations. And so it is a challenge. I'm not gonna tell you it's not. It is a challenge, but it's actually a good challenge because it gets you focused on, okay, where do we need to start? What's the plan? Step by step. And never, my whole thought is, you are doing what we're government, but don't give up. Don't say it's not gonna happen. You find a way. You look in the right ways. You have resources, and so we use our resources. We do that, and then be able to slow.
I agree. And I would say that, especially in more rural areas, or sometimes things take time. Things changes don't happen overnight, but we shouldn't give up. And progress is slow sometimes, but it is progress, and there is progress happening. And so I agree with that. And sometimes that's okay. That's I think part of people, just really wanting to hold on to their way of life, their values, their morals, and things like that. And then they equate with and change can be serious of anyone, right? But so I think that you guys are going in the right direction. You are going into the growth mindset. You're in the growth mindset, and I think the county as a whole right now is in a growth mindset. And I feel I've said this on former podcasts that I feel, as corny as it sounds, corny, that gives away out of my oh my gosh, can't believe I said that. But there's almost like a synergy in the air right now. And what I mean by that is synergy is kind of a made up corporate word, but basically it's just a good way to describe people excited and energized about business, commerce, ideas, change, community. And so that's what I think when I think of, and that's happening. That's what's going on right now.
Absolutely.
There's so many people venturing out, trying new things. There's young entrepreneurs out there all the time chopping up, trying their hand at this business or that. And not all of them work, and not all of them will work. I don't know if this podcast will work, but I'm going to keep trying.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you one thing, that if this fails, then I'll try something else. And so that really is the message here, is just, don't give up. Change may be slow. Things don't happen overnight, but it's the slow and steady that win the race. And so you just, if it's slow, that's okay. You got to be steady.
And the other thing is on, like, when you look funding grants and all that, on automatic 2 years. So that's why it's so slow. And it's like, don't give up. Same on pushing. If you don't get approved for one, you won't go for it. You did it. And just don't give up.
Don't give up. Yeah. Just when you do get a win, it's a huge one.
Absolutely.
It's a huge win because things don't change in government so easy, right? Or
Yes.
policy. So, like, when you did get that win, boy, it was worth.
And just like, yes, we part you got the grant money. Oh my, we're like, yes. See, we don't give up.
Yes.
So just keep on pushing, and then we get it.
Well, thank you so much for being here today. It was a pleasure to speak with you. And you guys, we will see you next week on another episode of McDonald County 411. Bye, guys.